How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Killmark Collectors. Now, today we're doing something a little bit different than normal. A couple of weeks ago, Captain Benzie on his channel actually posted a video about how he makes his videos using only a phone. And I thought it was really cool. I enjoyed it. I am a film nerd and photography geek, if you will. And so I really just enjoyed seeing another creative's process. And because Benzie uses a lot of Android tech, and I'm an iOS guy, I was kind of going back and forth with him and thought it would be kind of fun to do a similar video, but with the iOS flair to it, if you will. So that's what we're going to do today. It's going to be a little bit different. Hopefully you still stick around and enjoy this, but either way, I'm going to jump in here and walk you soup to nuts through how I make the videos that you guys all see here. So with that, let's undock and get started. So there's a couple of different steps that go into the making of a video, and when I start out to make something, a lot of times I have a topic in mind that I want to film or I want to do something about, and I have to then go and start collecting footage weeks before I even think about being able to make the video, just to make sure that I have as much as I can, and if I am able to see some of this stuff in the wild without having to create a simulated incident or something like that, where I can showcase what I'm talking about. Now, when I'm doing this, I do typically play on my iPad Pro. I just like the big screen. It's got plenty of processing power, all of that. This isn't sponsored by Apple, although Apple, if you're watching and want to sponsor this, feel free. But because I normally play on here, it's actually really easy to record footage as I'm going. I simply pull down on the upper right-hand corner and then hit that screen record button. If you don't have that, you can set it in your control center, and that will natively just record and send to my photos. So it's very simple. I don't need to do anything crazy, and it's really kind of the easiest part of this. Once I've gotten some footage that I think I'm going to be able to use, I'll airdrop that to my Mac. I'm not quite as cool as Benzie when it comes to editing. I do use my Mac. I like the bigger screen size. I like being able to process things a little bit more quickly. And so I'll actually do all of the editing there. Now, the other big piece of this, obviously, is I do a lot of talking to camera and a little bit more FaceTime than a lot of other creators do. That's just my personal style. Like I said earlier, I'm a film and photography nerd. So I'm actually filming this right now on my Canon EOS RP. Synced up to my Mac, but I actually record locally onto the SD card that's in the camera. You'll also notice that I do use a mic. This is a $30 mic off of Amazon, so it's not very expensive, but I've found that it does help a lot with the audio quality, and it's just a better experience for everybody all around. Now, for the audio, I do actually record that in Audacity, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. That is also a free program, and so I think that being able to showcase some of that in just a second is going to be helpful as well, hopefully. So with that, we've got kind of the three components. We've got the iPad with the actual gameplay footage. I've got my camera with the FaceTime, I guess, if you will, and then we've got audio, which is going to be, again, just through Audacity. Before we go any further, I'm going to jump into Audacity because that's going to be the first thing that I always do is to clean up that audio. I'll show you how I do that real quick, and then I'll jump back in and talk a little bit more about what comes up next in terms of the process. Okay, so now we're over in Audacity. Again, this is a free program that you're able to use. I've got some of the audio that I just recorded. I'm going to show you guys how I actually go through and do some of this. What you need to do is, as you're starting, you want to make sure that you have a little bit of silence or dead time, because the first thing I'm going to do is actually reduce some of the background noise. Now, I typically just take a couple of seconds here at the end, and I'm going to go up here to Effect, Noise Reduction, and get Noise Profile. Once you've done that, you basically go through and you do the exact same thing, but this time we just are going to apply it. So you do this, I just leave everything at the default, and then I hit OK. Takes a couple of seconds, especially because right now I'm trying to record and do a bunch of other things. So I'll just speed this up and you'll kind of get the picture. Now, one other thing that I didn't show, but what I typically do is I will actually do a clap sync. So I literally just clap, and then I see that in the video. My camera actually will capture some of that audio. There will be a big spike. The microphone will capture that big spike. I'm able to line those up so that what I'm saying actually matches with what you guys are seeing. Once I have all of that, I'm going to be able to drop all of this into iMovie. Again, this comes free with your Mac, so it's not quite doing it all on my phone, but again, it is fairly similar. Yes, I realize that the Mac is a little bit more expensive and all of that, but if you really wanted to, you could still do this on the iPad or even on your phone. So now we're in iMovie, and what I've done here is pulled up some footage that I'm actually going to be editing for the interdictor video that I'm doing. I haven't edited this yet, I haven't seen anything, so starting with kind of the most basic, what I will do is I will actually go in and put all the footage that I'm planning to use. I will tag it with a couple of titles here so that I just know what I've got and I'm kind of organized when I start looking through the footage itself. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do right off the bat before I do any kind of splitting or anything like that is I am going to go ahead and color correct and do a little bit of exposure adjustment. So if, for example, I'm looking at this and it looks fairly good, I probably look a little washed out. My white balance may be a little bit off. So, you know, I can go super crazy here and do a lot of really weird stuff. I'm just going to, you know, kind of tweak this and bump it a little bit. I've got a really great face here, so I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy that. The highlights look a little bit blown out to me, so I'm going to go ahead and just tweak these, add a little bit more contrast, and then iMovie will go through and put the rest of this in here. Now, the other thing that's really important is as I'm doing this, it's a lot easier to do it up front so that I don't have to try to splice things and figure out where to match things up and match the colors and the exposure and all of that. So it's kind of important to do and to figure out. Now, the other thing, I went ahead and dropped my audio in here as well. As you can see, there's this nice little peak where I clapped to do that sync. So I'm just going to pull that up here and again, just put that in line with the actual audio from the camera itself. Now I'm going to, once I do that, I'm going to go up here. I would normally play this back and just make sure that everything kind of sounds good, but I don't know how that's going to mess with the audio because I'm recording this. So we're just going to kind of go with it and I'll figure it out later if I really need to. Once I do that, I go ahead and I just mute this all, otherwise I get a nasty feedback, so that's not really something that I want. From here, really, it's just a matter of going through, I'll listen to the clips and kind of just edit what I want so that I kind of cut the fat a little bit, make the videos a little bit easier for y'all to watch. As much as I would love to say that I am smooth and suave, I guess, I know that I'm not, and so a lot of times I have to do a little bit of rework, possibly even some re-recording to make sure that I'm being consistent and crisp and clear on my message, so that again you guys are getting the most out of this. So I'm not going to make you watch this. I'm going to go through and just do some quick edits. There are a couple of tips and tricks if you guys are really interested in iMovie. I use it for not just this, but also some of the travel videos that me and my fiance make as part of just kind of our memories and things like that, that I've learned over the years. But it is a really powerful software, and again, it's free. So if you're looking to get into video editing, you've got a Mac, I'd really recommend starting here rather than trying to go to Adobe and their Premiere Pro or anything like that. It's just an easy tool to use. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and edit this. You'll kind of get a sense. I'll probably keep recording, but this way at least you can kind of see what the process looks like, and then we'll go from there. So here we go. Now, one thing I did not mention is that for a lot of the graphics, I just use PowerPoint. Hopefully you guys find those helpful. The reason I do them is just because I feel like it's easier to describe with a picture rather than me just talk about something. So hopefully they help, but that's where I make those. They're nothing fancy or crazy. Again, if you've got any sort of Microsoft or Mac product, you're probably already having the Microsoft Office suite. And so if you wanted to do something similar, you certainly could. But that's really the process from start to finish of how I make videos. Again, the grand total of this, other than the cost of the iPad or the Mac, really the hardware, all of the software is free. You're able to do this all either natively through your device or just with a couple of free tools. I will link all of them down below. I'm not sponsored. I don't have any referral links or anything like that. But if you're interested, feel free to head down there and grab one of those for sure. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't already, I'd highly recommend also checking out Benzie's video on how to make this in an Android environment, just so that if you've got one of those devices, you can do it there as well. That's really it for today. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled content with more of kind of the normal gameplay videos and things like that. But thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed, and have a great week or weekend or whenever this releases. And until next time, fly safe.